Hello, I'm Clinton from the EasyDIYseries.com. So in the previous project phases and videos, we've already discussed plan, where you've designed your kitchen. We've discussed buying your parts. And now we're going into the project phase of actually doing the work, which is obviously the exciting but also difficult part at times. In this do project phase of the actual kitchen install, I've really divided this part of the video into two sections. First is the site preparation, so the clearing of everything. And the second part is the actual kitchen itself install. So let's cover site preparation. So the site preparation, you really ensure that you need to pull out everything and throw it away. So you're left with 4 walls, almost like a blank canvas, ready for your new kitchen install. Make sure, I would advise you to get a skip bin out front so you can really efficiently work, pull the stuff out, throw it into the skip bin and worry about that later. It's now the right time to call in your qualified electrician and plumber to reroute any cables or pipes that are needed for the new location of your sink and any appliances in your kitchen. You need to do this before your kitchen gets installed, else it may cost more and be a much more difficult job to do. So in this kitchen example, I've had to get an electrician to mount a new plug point in the microwave box. He's also run 2 new cables off a 25 amp circuit breaker from the main electricity supply because it draws a lot of current. So one over here where we'll have the oven, and one over here. This cable will be connected to the hot plate, which will be mounted into the bench over here. Fortunately, in this example, the wastewater was already in place where the sink is going to go, and for a dishwasher, tap was also already in place. So when we look at the taps also, in this example, we're just replacing the tap wear, so there's no need to reroute any of the plumbing. So now that your electrical and your plumbing is good to go for your new kitchen, it's now the right time to look at your floor coverings. So you can leave your floor coverings the way they are, or it's a very good opportunity for you to retile them, go for something maybe a little more modern or classic, or whatever your preference might be. In this example, we've put big 600 by 600 tiles. So kitchen's gone, plumbing and electrics are done, floor covering's done. Next step would be to fix any holes and paint the kitchen. Before you do your kitchen actual install, part of site preparation, you need to also figure out where the studs in your wall is. What I mean by studs, in every wall there are pieces of wood that run down vertically along the wall. You need to know where these are because that is where you anchor your cabinet to the wall, because that is the secure point. You need to remember that in front of those wooden pieces is just usually gyprock. And gyprock is not strong enough to actually hold the wall cabinet up. So what you need to locate those studs, and you need to mark, just with a normal pencil, on the wall where those stud locations are, so you know where to anchor your cabinetry once you install the kitchen. So there's 2 ways of finding those studs. The first one is you can buy one of these stud finders at your local hardware store, and they will quite easily locate your stud for you. So if I run along the wall, when you hear that beep, you know there's a stud there. So at that point, I will then take my pencil and put a little cross on the wall so I know there's a piece of wood or stud that runs vertically up here. And that means when I put my wall cabinet here, I'll secure it with screws along that wooden stud to keep it in place. If you don't have a stud finder or want to invest in one, you can always do it the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way is you just take your knuckle and you bang until you hear a more solid sound. go. You can hear there's something there. And as you move away, it's hollow again. Let's try that again. There's something there and nothing there. So I will then take my pencil and make a mark there. A very useful tip to do next is to actually take the design, the template of your kitchen, and draw it on the wall in actual size. So what that does for you, it highlights any issues and measurements that you might have done in the planning phase. So you can take a long ruler, for example. You would look at your plan. You would then measure up from the floor where this wall cabinet would start, and you would actually draw a template of your kitchen on the wall itself. It also makes life a lot easier when you've assembled your cabinets and you're ready to mount them. You know exactly where they go. Okay, let's summarize. Site preparation is done. We removed the old kitchen, we retiled the floors, we replumbed, put new electrics where the new appliances were. We've marked the studs in our walls where the anchoring will be of the cabinets, and we've drawn a template of the kitchen. So we know exactly where the cabinets go, and it also ensures that our planning was correct. Okay, we're about to start the second part of the do phase, and that's installing the actual cabinetry and getting the kitchen built. Let's go. So are there any special tool requirements to be able to build a kitchen? I would recommend 4. The first one being your trusty cordless battery powered drill screwdriver. You need to be able to have one of these to access those hard to reach places in the cabinets and underneath. If you decide to get an acrylic splashback like this kitchen, you will need to cut it to the right shape. For that you need a circular saw, and you need a very fine tooth blade. If you just use a normal blade, it's going to shatter because it's a very brittle type of material. A third tool is obviously the jigsaw. If you're going to be getting a wooden benchtop and you're going to cut the holes yourself for your sink and your hot plate, you obviously need a really good jigsaw. If you're going for stone or another material, it's advisable to rather pay them to actually cut the holes for you. And my fourth tool that I suggest is a very good radio to keep you moving. Let's get going with the kitchen install. One very important point. When you start your kitchen install, you need to start in the corner with your cabinets and then assemble your cabinets through to the adjacent wall. There's a reason for this, and that is because if your measurements are a little bit wrong and you have a space left at the very end, you can always just use a filler panel, or like in this picture from another kitchen, you can install a wine rack and no one will ever know that that space wasn't meant to be there. So in order of sequence, I started with my appliance cabinet where I have my oven and my microwave box. I secured it to the side wall with 30 more screws. I then went on to add a side panel on the side of my appliance cabinet. And the reason for that, this is obviously a visual surface for anyone that is working in the kitchen, so it needs to be nice. The next cabinets installed were the base cabinets and then the wall cabinets. Now just a quick trick for the wall cabinets, they can be a little heavy to actually put up yourself if you're installing the kitchen yourself. So what you can do, you can just take a piece of blockwood. Those studs which I mentioned before, you can find where one of the studs is. Place the blockwood where your wall cabinet will start, screw it into the stud, and then when you actually mount your wall cabinet, it's taking the weight instead of you having to hold the wall cabinet up while you secure your wall cabinet. And then you can unscrew the block and you're good to go again. So with a typical cabinet, you usually get the shell or base or carcass. There's a number of names for it. Really that's just the wooden box part, which are the pieces of wood which are put together usually by screws. You also usually get 4 feet. These feet aren't normal feet, they're adjustable feet, which you usually can screw to level the cabinet up and down. In the cabinet you also get some hardware, which is usually to mount your doors or your drawer fronts. So here's one of the doors for this base cabinet. You can see I've already mounted the hardware. It's quite simple. Most of the holes are already pre-drilled onto the doors. So you just mount the hardware and you're ready to put the doors on the cabinets. I will show you now how to put the door on the cabinet, but I would advise you wait till the very end of your kitchen assembly so you can access all your cabinets to do other things, and then at the end put your door fronts and your handles on. So there's little mounting clips, hooks. Just need to hook them in. Bottom one is on. Top one is done. And there you have it. Now before mounting your bench top, you need to ensure that your base cabinets are level. If they're not level, your bench top is not going to sit properly. So if you remember, each base cabinet came with 4 adjustable feet. By screwing the feet, you can actually adjust the corners of the cabinet up and down to make sure they're level. Another quick tip, just like you install your cabinets from the corner to the end, when you level your cabinet, start in one corner and then level towards the end cabinet. That will make life a lot easier and save you a lot of time. So once your bench top arrives, you're ready to install it because your cabinets have been leveled. So in this kitchen, I've just placed the bench top on top of the base cabinets and I've secured it with wooden screws again. So I've put screws through the side panel through the bench top, and I've also used screws to secure the base cabinets to the underneath of the bench top. Be very careful, use the right length screws so you don't penetrate the surface layer on the bench top. If the bench top is granite or stone, obviously they're not going to use screws, but they will secure it using a special glue which is more than adequate. Okay? As this is a laminate bench top, I need to now cut the holes to install my appliances before I call in the electrician to wire it up. So in this example, I have a little 2-burner. What is very important to make the measurement for the bench top is you need to ensure that you're measuring the actual cutout correctly. So don't make the mistake of measuring the top, because the appliance will just fall through and you'll need to replace your bench top. So we have approximately 260 wide by 490 long, and all I've done is I've ensured that I've actually drawn a template of the 260 wide by 490 long onto my bench top, just using a ruler and a pencil to mark it. Now how I normally do it, I know many people probably have different ways of doing it, but I take a drill and I actually make holes in the corners of the template. This will make it a little bit easier when you're using your jigsaw, because when you start your jigsaw to cut your holes, you'll be able to insert the blade into the hole as a start point. Another important point is your safety gear just before we start cutting the holes. So a good set of gloves, some glasses to protect your eyes, and a dust mask. In this kitchen, I want to put acrylic here, which is the splash zone around your sink, and I want to put another panel here. So what I'll do on a piece of paper, I'll draw up the 2 panels. and I will measure the length and the width of each panel so I can go and cut. Okay, we're back in the kitchen and our 2 acrylic panels are now cut. What I've also done, I've cut the holes for the tapware on the acrylic panel using a hole saw. And what's also important is how we secure it on the back. So we need to use a very thin double-sided mounting tape in the corners and also in the area where the tapware is going to be to provide extra strength and support. What we're going to do now, we're going to put some silicone in a lattice which will create a vacuum effect when you push it up against the wall. So I will show you how that's done. So we've got the tape on already. Important to note too, you need to use a neutral cure silicone for this. Don't be shy, spread it. Okay, that should do it. So as you can see, it's a bit of a lattice network. So we're going to now secure it to the wall. Okay, so now we're going to do the second panel. Exactly the same. The kick panel is one of the last things you need to install in your kitchen. It usually comes in between 2 and 3 meter lengths, which you need to cut down to size to fit under your base cabinets. It also comes with some clip hardware, which clip onto the feet as you push the panel on. So you secure the clips into the same locations as the feet spacing under your cabinet. And then you literally turn it over and it should click on nicely. Now that all the appliances are installed, the kitchen is complete and this phase of the project is done. The job is done. There's one more phase, and that is celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate all your hard work in building your kitchen. I also want to request, before I go, that if this video helped you in any way, please like my page and also donate to the charity on the bottom of my site. See you soon. Cheers.